You have found what lights you up. I'm your host, Sunny the Life Coach, and I'm here because I see you searching for something or someone out there to help you feel better. Something to take away the pain that you're feeling, the inadequacies. I know all of the things that happen in life can leave you feeling empty. Your search is over. This podcast is all about finding your own freedom and power to love yourself enough to shine in the ways you were always meant to, the ways in which you are already fully capable of. If you're ready for some real talk, some serious truth bombs, and a few F-bombs, you are in the right place. Let's do this. Let's get lit. Hi there, it is May 2020 and you are listening to episode 6. April seemed to last forever, and at the same time it was over in a blink. It is just strange how everything is going down these days. It is another one of those perfect weather days here. It's nice and breezy but not too windy. Lots of sunshine. But the oppressive Texas heat hasn't taken over yet. It's just a matter of time. Maybe another couple of weeks. Listen, I'm not always going to open these episodes by talking about the weather, but I think it's important to share this. It's breezy, not windy as it has been the past couple of days. That's probably why the initial schedule for the Blue Angels flyover to honor healthcare workers in the Dallas-Fort Worth area changed from Tuesday to Wednesday. Wednesday is the day I'm recording this, and over the past 48 hours, I have mulled over and over in my head where the best place to view this flyover might be. The routes that were published kept changing by the hour, and they always said preliminary until yesterday morning when the U.S. Navy Blue Angels Facebook page posted the official one. Didn't change too much. It still identified the starting point as right where I live. We are just north of Dallas in the DFW Metroplex. We have a small airport in our city that it's primarily used for corporate jets, as this area in general is a hub for a lot of corporate headquarters. Well, that's the starting point for the Blue Angels, at least as we understood it, right here in my backyard. And then they're going to fly down 75 around Allen, Plano, Richardson, loop around Dallas, west of Fort Worth, loop around to Busdom Hospitals there, and move on to Houston and New Orleans. It'll all be very quick, of course. This is what I'm thinking. The question was, where do we go for the vantage point? Because it's in my backyard, one option was to just walk outside my freaking front door. But everything being bigger in Texas, and I swear this neighborhood is low elevation with high rooftops. So I was really worried about being able to see it from the street. Now, we could have gone to a parking lot right across from Baylor McKinney Hospital, about 2 miles north, which was their first point to buzz. My husband initially said the best vantage point with open sky might be around our high-end high school football stadium 2 miles south of our house. But a friend suggested another parking lot in the total opposite direction that was right along the interstate. And that was west, but the highest elevation. So my husband agreed to try that. Both my husband and I have seen the Blue Angels and Thunderbirds many times. He is an Air Force brat, and I dated a pilot a long time ago, so I've attended more air shows than I ever cared to back in the day. This was really for our son, whose only exposure has been YouTube, and the boy was fairly amped up about it. We get to our chosen parking lot, the one where we finally landed, about 20 minutes before go time, and it's not bad. It's not too crowded. All the shady spots are taken, but social distancing is intact. And then as the minutes tick by, the lot fills up. And I see people lined up in the grass on the other side of the highway, and I'm thinking, We must have picked a good spot if so many others have the same idea. So we're all looking north toward the airport, every single person in that lot. Then someone says, over there, and we all whirl around and look behind us, and there, just barely visible above the rooftops of the strip mall we were in, you can see the contrails far away following these tiny jets. They turn in the opposite direction, and they are gone. And so on our way home, we passed by the stadium that, although the parking lot has been blocked off for some time now, we find people have just parked at the side of the road and police are directing traffic there. My husband looks at me, that look of I told you so, and I say, don't even. My friend calls to apologize for her recommendation. I say, don't even. I call my neighbor across the street. She says, it was amazing. They flew right over the neighborhood. Oh, I have a lot of feelings right now. Not because I missed anything, but because I have to hear the boy say we should have just stayed home. Oh well. Moving on. In honor of Mental Health Awareness Month, I will spend the next several episodes exploring feelings. Things that nobody wants to talk about, but everyone experiences. Today, I want to incorporate two topics into one broad stroke, and I want to do it this way because it's what makes sense to me. I honestly have a hard time separating them. I've been applying this practice for a couple of years now, and it simply all comes together for me when I think about them in this complementary manner. So get yourself ready for some truth bombs. Here we go. First, let's tackle the contrast that is ever present in our lives, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. We know this on that most basic level, yet many of us try like hell to ignore it. The contrast I'm referring to here is how we experience life, my friends. There is light, there is dark. We have amazing moments and we have moments of complete and utter despair that will shake us to our very core and bring us to our knees. Often the light represents birth and renewal for us, and the dark represents death and dormant. Think of the seasons in nature. Summer is light. We do happy things. It's the time when the kids have a break from school, family vacation memories are made, and there is abundant sunlight, happiness, warmth, full of life. In contrast, during the winter, the days are shorter, dark and gray. The plants and trees are dormant. The temperature is colder. The air is thinner. Winter is synonymous with hibernation. We do more inside than outside. And yet there is that contrast between inside and outside. We still have experiences outside, just not as many. Spring and fall are the transition periods between those light and dark seasons, and quite honestly, my two favorite seasons. Somewhere between the ecstasy and the misery. Both are necessary elements of our being here. We can't have one without the other. Both must exist. There is contrast. There is also balance. For me, it's helpful to envision the yin-yang symbol from the Chinese religion philosophy of Taoism. It helps me to envision this because this symbol not only depicts contrast, but also balance. I appreciate that each swirl contains a dot of the opposite, which furthers the concept of balance. The yin, the dark swirl, is associated with shadows, femininity, and the trough of a wave. The yang, the light swirl, represents brightness, passion, and growth. Yin is death. Yang is life. Yin is feminine. Yang is masculine. Yin is the moon. Yang is the sun. Yin is dark, yang is light. Yin is cold, yang is hot. Yin is hate, yang is love. Yin is negative, yang is affirmative. So for the darkness that we view as winter, that dot would represent the times that we do get out and enjoy the snow if we have it, or the warm fireplace we can sit beside while the cold wind howls outside. That little touch of the opposite that resides within each contrast, that balancing element. Now, it's interesting to me that as I was researching yin and yang for this episode, because I do like to view the symbol as both contrast and balance, and I do find it helpful for my own visualization of how humans experience life, that it seems feminine is associated with what we perceive as negative qualities and masculine positive. I just found that interesting. Darkness and light, cold and warm. Remember, it means nothing until you have a thought about it. So again, just an interesting thought is what I had. We all possess qualities of both, regardless of gender identification. It's balance. That's not what this is about. This episode is not about gender at all. It's about the contrasting elements that exist within all of us, presented through our emotions. What I also love about the yin-yang symbol is that one side is not purely black and one side is not purely white. So that's that balance again, not represented though by shades of gray. It's represented by the contrast of its counterpart. Okay, I'm not going to spend this entire episode on metaphysical. I'm simply trying to provide you examples, paint a picture, help you to visualize what I'm talking about when I say both contrast and balance. Now, let's apply this to our emotions. Is it fair to say that we humans can feel depressed and elated, critical or grateful, hateful or content, sorrowful and joyful, embarrassed, self-assured? Which of these contrasts would you rather feel? We assign good and bad, positive and negative to our emotions, to the feelings that we have experiences with. This comes from our conditioning at a young age. We've grown to learn that we aren't supposed to feel bad. We should always strive to feel the good things. We also have that extra layer of basic instinct that we're born with. Seek pleasure, avoid pain. Put all of this together and you have a recipe for a lifetime of constant pleasure seeking and pain avoidance. Marketers know this very well, by the way. There's a full-on psychology component that has been in play for some time now. They play on our emotions and our propensity to avoid the bad stuff all day, every day. Drink this potion and you'll lose weight. Lose weight and you'll feel better. Fat is bad, unattractive. Thin is good, attractive. Stay young and pretty and smooth. Don't grow old and ugly and wrinkled. Put this on your hair and this on your skin, then you'll be happy when you look in the mirror. Take this pill so you don't feel sad or depressed. Oh, there's a whole list of 10 pages of nasty side effects in small print, but would you rather have no feeling below your waist or risk high blood pressure, or would you rather feel depressed and sad most of the time? Because we have these other pills that will help you with your sex drive and lower your blood pressure. It's all good. We can make you feel better. Just open your wallet. Let me be clear that I'm not advocating that you flush all your prescriptions and other magic potions down the toilet today. I'm simply suggesting that we wise up in the ways of the world and the constant messaging that we should be happy all of the time, because that's not how it's supposed to be. We have been given these emotions, this contrast of darkness and light, because we were meant to feel them all. There's a reason they are here. We just defer to our default programming of pleasure seeking and pain avoidance combined with the societal messages that if you are sad, something inside of you needs to be fixed. And that is a lie. It's a pretty big one too. This idea that we always need to be chasing the feel-good emotions and avoiding the bad at all costs. In the US, for sure, we adults can invest quite a bit to do just that, can't we? The truth is that we have the contrast because how can we truly feel the full experience of being elated if we haven't felt the opposite of despair? The truth is that we don't really want to feel good, whatever that even means, or happy all of the time, do we? We need to feel disappointment if we don't make the team or land the dream job. We need to feel the grief that comes with the death of a loved one or a loss at any level of life as we know it, as we've come to expect it. We need to feel fear or even terror in order to invoke that fight or flight response in dangerous situations. Can you imagine what it would be like if you couldn't experience fear? If you were incapable of experiencing fear? We talk an awful lot about being fearless, but in reality, it's simply one of those necessary emotions that we need for survival. Fear can also be used as a thrill, can it not? I mean, what about the roller coasters, bungee jumping, skydiving? Some of us seek these things. We actually enjoy the feeling of our heart in our throats for just a few moments. Some of these emotions remind us that we are fucking alive. I'll take a deeper dive into some of the more common negative emotions in future episodes. For now, I just want you to recognize that they all have their place in our lives. We could say that in general, half of them are wonderful and awesome, and half of them are absolute shit. We don't get to pick and choose a life full of rainbows and unicorns. That's not even how it's supposed to be. Yet, from a very young age, we are conditioned to only want that. What's wrong, sweetheart? Are you sad? Why are you sad? Cheer up. It's not so bad. Be happy. I've also heard parents say, I don't want my child to see me crying. Well, why the hell not? What's wrong with your child knowing that there is pain in life and you don't get a pass when you reach adulthood? There are shitty experiences in life and we have to navigate them as best we can. Sometimes that means through the release of an ugly cry. We have to feel all of the feels. Which brings me to my second concept. If you're following my train of thought here, the first concept is that life is contrast. It is a balance of good and bad, light and dark, half wonderful, half horrible. That's just the way that it is. We live with a contrast of emotions every damn day, half and half. The second concept is that feeling all of it is necessary. And we use all the feels on social media almost exclusively to mean everything good and wonderful. See a picture of a cute baby or a puppy. Oh, all the feels. I do it too. And I mean it just that way when I comment, all the feels. But when I'm coaching and teaching this concept, all the feels includes all of the heavy, messy, ugly, downright shitty feelings. We absolutely must feel them all. Why? Why do I want to feel pain? Because the more you practice feeling pain, and I mean really dropping into it and feeling it all the way through, the less of an impact it has on you. I know that seems counterintuitive and against everything you think it should be, but it is true. The more you practice feeling all of your feelings, the more skilled you become at it, so it isn't as scary and heavy and ominous to even approach them in the first place. It's just a feeling. This is my truth bomb to you all today. However, We want to avoid pain at all costs. It's hardwired into us, and the social programming has reinforced that we shouldn't ever feel bad. There's no need to. There's a blue million ways to escape them or numb them away. Because we instinctively want to avoid pain. Well, that's what we put into practice. 3 ways that we commonly choose to avoid are by resisting, reacting, or distracting ourselves from that painful emotion. When we resist an emotion, we are pushing back against it. I don't want to feel this. Go away. The problem with resistance is that it takes a lot of energy. It's exhausting, and it doesn't make the pain go away. It might just fall beneath the surface of awareness for a time. When we react, for example, to anger, we might have a form of expression that comes with it, like yelling or waving arms or clenching fists, and that's not truly feeling the anger. That's just reacting to it in the heat of the moment, perhaps towards someone else. If you're truly sinking into the feeling of anger, really sitting with it, the person you're angry with, if that's the scenario, need not even be aware of it because you aren't reacting. It might feel right in the moment to react, but it's not really feeling. The third way that we seek to avoid painful emotions is attempting to distract ourselves from them. This is where we numb. We drink, we eat, we binge on a screen, we go shopping, we check out, whatever it takes to pretend like it's not there. The problem with numbing is that it cannot be selective. This is especially true for alcohol and drugs because there is a component that is chemically altering your brain. It's all or nothing when you start numbing. The good feelings get numbed away too. So you're just left with feeling nothing really. Until you sober up or wake up from your dreamy state, all you've succeeded in doing here is layering on even more shitty feelings like guilt and shame. And the quickest way out of it is to get high again. So you can see why numbing in particular can be such a trap and why it's something I'll be going into depth on at another time. Exercising any of those options is simply delaying the inevitable or layering even more shitty feelings on top of the ones that you have worked so hard to avoid. It just snowballs. And if those go-to options don't work, then what does? Allow the feelings to be. Allow them. Just feel them. All of the feels. Now, this isn't a concept that I've invented, to be sure. You may have even heard it before, just hopefully not in this way. That's ultimately my personal goal. I'm just the messenger, sharing with you what I have learned and delivering it in my own words, from my voice to your ears. On this podcast, I do like to share some of the sources of my learning. By now, you should know this if you're a returning listener. I just think that it helps to connect my own thoughts with some of the masters out there. It helps me to personally reinforce the things that I know to be true. Perhaps on some level, it's a way to confirm my street cred to myself. Either way, it's time for an excerpt. I like to absorb as much knowledge as I possibly can, weave it into my own words to share with you, and bring it back to the experts to solidify it all. It's my glue. And I think especially when we are talking about the concept of allowing, I really do want to bring one of those experts in. So the next words you will hear from me are from The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer. You must look inside yourself and determine that from now on, pain is not a problem. It's just a thing in the universe. Somebody can say something to you that cause your heart to react and catch fire, but then it passes. It's a temporary experience. Most people can hardly imagine what it would be like to be at peace with inner disturbance. But if you do not learn how to be comfortable with it, you will devote your life to avoiding it. If you feel insecurity, it's just a feeling. You can handle a feeling. If you feel embarrassed, it's just a feeling. It's just a part of creation. If you feel jealousy and your heart burns, just look at it objectively like you would a mild bruise. It's a thing in the universe that is passing through your system. Laugh at it. Have fun with it. But don't be afraid of it. It cannot touch you unless you touch it. Wow, that's the root of it, isn't it? Fear. We're afraid to feel that bad shit, failing to recognize that if we just allow it to be there, it's just a thing passing through your system. Instead, we tend to find ourselves doing the exact opposite of allowing, all because we don't want to let the bad stuff in. When we resist and distract ourselves from feeling painful emotions, they don't go away. They're simply buried within us. Just how deep they're buried depends on how long we've been pushing them down in favor of the pleasurable emotions. I can assure you that years of numbing away or trying to ignore pain will result in an explosion at some point. And you won't even know why or where it came from. It's just been smoldering, this slow, quiet, hidden burn. And you will ignite in a way that will not be pretty. This is not the lighting up that I'm talking about, my friends. This is not the way that you want to be lit. This eruption of what you've been suppressing won't be pleasing. It won't be beautiful. It will be very dark and ugly because that wolf is hungry and sick of being ignored. If you haven't heard the Native American folk tale of the two wolves that reside within us, please look it up. Yes, the one you feed thrives. But I also like to remind myself that the one you starve survives in some way to come back to bite you when you least expect it. So give some of your attention to that wolf too. Michael further writes, if you want to be free, you must first accept that there is pain in your heart. You have it stored there, and you've done everything you can think of to keep it there, deep inside, so that you never have to feel it. There's also tremendous joy, beauty, love, and peace within you. But they're on the other side of pain. On the other side of pain is ecstasy. On the other side is freedom. Your true greatness hides on the other side of that layer of pain. You must be willing to accept pain in order to pass through to the other side. Just accept that it is there and that you're going to feel it. Accept that if you relax, it will have its moment before your awareness, and then it will pass. It always does. Love it. I want you to give allowing a try. I want you to feel all of the feels. I want you to practice this with full understanding that it will be a lifelong practice. Just as a yogi or a doctor or any practitioner. I mean, that is the very freaking definition. That's what a practice is. It doesn't end, but it does have a beginning, and your beginning starts now. I will leave you with a quote that I came across just a couple of days ago as I was already planning this topic, and I'd already blogged about it. This is my theme of the week. I'll link to a couple of my related blog posts in the show notes for your reference, and my blog posts always contain links to my calendar if you would like to schedule some time with me. I highly recommend it. Here's the quote. Honor your sadness when you're sad and your happiness when you're happy. And sometimes you'll feel both happy and sad at the same time. It's all sacred. feeling your feelings is holy ground. And that was said by Brooke Lightstone. Okay, heavy topic, but I feel lighter for having shared it already. I hope you have an amazing week. I am Sunny the Life Coach, and you have been listening to Light the Fuck Up. I hope to hear from you soon. Shine on.